Today, I am going to show you how to install Google TV 13 directly on your Windows PC. This is not just an emulator setup or a USB live boot. We'll be doing a full installation on your hard drive or SSD so that Google TV runs as a proper operating system on your computer. By the end of this video, you will have a fully working Google TV environment with Play Store support, apps, and the same interface you'd find on an actual Google TV device. But before we begin, make sure to watch carefully and don't skip any steps. I'll explain everything in detail, so even if you are new to this, you will be able to follow along without any issues. First, you need to download the Google TV 13 archive from the Google Drive link I have given in the video description. This archive contains everything you need to set up Google TV on your PC. Once the download is complete, right-click on the file and choose Extract All. Wait for the extraction to finish. After that, open the extracted folder and you will find two important things inside. The first is the Google TV 13 ISO file, which contains the core system files of Google TV. The second is a folder named Storages, which contains different storage images that will act as the internal app storage for Google TV. Now that we have the files ready, the next step is to prepare the hard drive or SSD where Google TV will be installed. For this, we are going to use a tool called Disk Genius. You can get it by simply searching Google for Disk Genius and downloading it from its official website. Install the program on your Windows PC and then open it. Inside Disk Genius, you'll see a list of all storage devices connected to your computer. This is where you need to be very careful. Identify the hard drive or SSD where you want to install Google TV. If you have multiple drives, look at the size and the model name to be sure you are selecting the correct one. This step is very important because the process will completely erase everything on that drive. The safest option is to use a spare hard drive or SSD that you don't mind wiping completely. Once you have selected the correct target drive, we need to remove any existing partitions on it. Right-click on the drive and choose Delete All Partitions. Now, the entire drive shows up as unallocated space. Next, we need to create two new partitions on the drive for Google TV. The first one will be the boot partition. This is a very small partition that only stores the file needed to start Google TV. So, create a new partition with a size of 250 MB. Set the file system to FAT32 because FAT32 is universally supported by almost all bootloaders. Then, set the label to boot. Once the boot partition is created, use the rest of the free space on the drive to create the second partition. Set the file system to XFAT because it supports large files and works well for storage system images. Next, name the label System. This partition is where the main Google TV operating system and app storage will live. After setting this up, save all the changes in Disk Genius. Your hard drive or SSD should now have two partitions. One small FAT32 partition and one large XFAT system partition. At this point, the partitions exist, but the boot partition is not bootable yet. To make it bootable, we need to install a small piece of code called a bootloader. To install that bootloader, we are going to use another tool called BootICE. Search Google for BootICE and download it from a trusted website. Once downloaded, extract the file. Right-click on the 64-bit version and run it as administrator. Inside boot IC, select the same target disk where you created the boot and system partitions. Then, click on the option called Process PBR, which stands for Partition Boot Record. Make sure the boot partition is selected here. Then, from the list of boot options, select Sys Linux because Sys Linux is lightweight, reliable, and works well with Google TV. After selecting it, click Install or Configure. Boot IC will write the bootloader into the boot partition. Once this process finishes, your boot partition is now capable of loading the Google TV system. Now it's time to copy the actual Google TV system files into the partitions we created. Start by mounting the Google TV 13 ISO file. To do this, right-click on the ISO and choose Mount. Windows will treat the ISO file like a virtual DVD drive, and you will be able to browse its contents just like you would with a normal drive. Select everything you see inside the ISO, except the system.sfs file. Copy them and paste them into the boot partition of your drive. From the same mounted ISO, copy the file named system.sfs and paste it into the system partition. This file contains the entire Google TV operating system. Next, open the storages folder from the archive you extracted earlier. Inside, you'll find different storage files for various sizes like 8GB, 16GB, 32GB and 64GB. These files are designed to give Google TV app storage, similar to the internal memory you get on an actual smart TV. Choose the one that best fits your drive capacity. For example, if your drive is 128GB, you can safely choose the 64GB storage option. Extract the file. Inside, you'll find a file named data.img. This file is what Google TV will use as internal storage for apps and user data. Copy this data.img file into the system partition. The final step is to make sure your computer actually boots from this new drive. Restart your computer and enter the BIOS or UEFI setup. Once you are inside, disable Secure Boot, because Secure Boot blocks custom operating systems like Google TV from loading. Now, instead of changing the permanent boot order, leave your Windows drive as the default boot device. This way, your computer will always start Windows automatically. But whenever you want to boot into Google TV, press the boot menu key on your keyboard during startup. You'll see a list of all connected drives. From here, you can select the drive where you install Google TV. The system will first load into the kernel boot screen. On this screen, you'll see several kernel options listed. You can select the very first option and press enter. This is the default kernel and it works on most systems. If your computer fails to boot or you get a black screen, restart and try another kernel option from the list. The external display kernels are meant for systems where the internal screen is not detected properly, so you can use those if you face display issues. Now, the system will begin loading. After a short while, you will be taken to Google TV Setup Wizard. First, select your preferred language. Next, you will be asked to connect to the internet. If your PC has Wi-Fi, you will see a list of available wireless networks. Select your network, enter the password and connect. If you are using an Ethernet cable, Google TV will detect it automatically. Once you are connected to the internet, you will be prompted to sign in with your Google account. Enter your Gmail address and password and complete the sign-in process. After signing in, You'll see a few standard Google prompts about terms and conditions, location services, and sending diagnostic data. You can either keep the default settings or adjust them according to your preference. After that, you'll land on Google TV home screen. This is the same interface you'd find on an actual Google TV device. At the top, you'll see your installed apps, and below that, you'll get personalized recommendations for movies, TV shows, and YouTube videos. As you can see, it's running on the latest Android TV 13 operating system. Thanks to the data.img file that we placed in the system partition earlier, you now have plenty of app storage available. Go ahead and install popular streaming apps like YouTube, Hotstar, Plex, Kodi, and even Android TV games from the Play Store. With this setup, your PC is now functioning as a fully featured Google TV device. This Google TV 13 build is a PC port of Android TV, not an official Google certified version. Since it lacks Google's Widevine L1 DRM certification, apps like Netflix and Amazon Prime Video may not work as expected. They can be installed and launched, but playback is often blocked or limited, and in some cases, the apps may show errors when you try to play any content. On the other hand, most apps don't rely heavily on DRM, such as YouTube, MX Player, or Jio Hotstar, will run without issues. If you want full support for Netflix and Prime Video, you'll need a certified device like Chromecast with Google TV or an official Android TV box. And that's it. You have now successfully installed Google TV 13 directly on your PC's internal drive.